we see a reunion between the San Francisco 49ers and Miami Dolphins running back Jeff Wilson? If that doesn't happen, could we see a reunion between Raheem Mostert and the San Francisco 49ers, as Mostert also plays for the Miami Dolphins? They have a pretty loaded backfield, clearly. And then also on the back end of the show, we're opening up the floor and we're taking questions from some of our legendary and loyal Real One subscribers. Before we do all of that, as we accomplish another great show here on the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports, I'm Chase Sr. Programming alert. We will be live on Sunday, Niners-Chiefs watch party. You don't want to miss it. It's the best place to experience a Niners game day outside of being at the actual game. Jeff Wilson reunion. Could the Niners explore it going into the trade deadline on November 5th? Christian McCaffrey is still hurt, Achilles tendonitis in both legs. Jordan Mason is banged up. So will the Niners make a move at the running back position? Jeff Wilson has scheme familiarity with what Kyle Shanahan wants to do. And when the Niners traded for Christian McCaffrey a couple of years ago, they traded away Jeff Wilson to the Miami Dolphins so that he could get some more playing time. Bill Barnwell of ESPN talked about this potential trade. So let's share the screen and I'll read off what he said in his ESPN story. Here's another reunion for a team riddled with injuries at running back. The 49ers were already down Christian McCaffrey before Jordan Mason suffered a shoulder injury in the Week 6 win over the Seahawks. Mason briefly returned to the game before exiting for good, and while the team believes he avoided a serious injury, we have seen shoulder injuries linger and worsen for backs in previous years. Rookie Isaac Guerendo showed off his burst with the 76-yard carry, but his other 21 rushing attempts have gone for just 64 yards. He has great raw speed and acceleration, but he's not experienced or consistent enough as a runner within this offense to thrive with the sort of regularity the Niners need from their backs. Patrick Taylor Jr. is in the mix. They could also bring back Matt Breida, who is a free agent, but adding someone with experience as the lead back in this offense would be helpful. Unlike Breida, who was more of a change of pace and home run hitter during his time in San Francisco, Wilson was used as the top back more often. He's fourth on the depth chart in Miami behind Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane, and Jalen Wright, and the Dolphins have competed with the Browns to be one of the league's worst offenses. Wilson would be useful to have around if all the other backs in front of him get injured, but he's not going to play much otherwise. And this is a player who, since he is buried on the Dolphins depth chart, you could get him for a very affordable price. And I like Bill Barnwell's trade idea. You'd be giving up a 2025 sixth-round pick for Jeff Wilson, and then you also get a seventh-round pick from Miami in this trade. Whichever running back gets carries within this Kyle Shanahan offense, outside zone scheme, very running back and running friendly, they're going to be able to find success. And with Jeff Wilson, a North Texas legend, you have a lot of confidence that given his scheme familiarity and what we've seen from him before, he could be a productive back on this team. Although I will say, love the skills and the ability of Isaac Guerendo. And Patrick Taylor kind of impressed me on Thursday night. So, let's go full screen here. Would you make this trade? T for trade, P for pass. Share your opinions with me down in the comments section and let me know if you would make this move. To another Miami Dolphins running back, Maurice Jones-Drew, a great running back in the day with the Jacksonville Jaguars, also put together a piece on NFL.com and explained why the Niners should explore trading for Raheem Mostert. Enter some old friends who left the Bay Area a couple of years ago, joining former Niners coach Mike McDaniel in South Beach. Mostert and Wilson are solid veteran options who would add some quality depth to this Niners attack. Plus, the Dolphins have a pair of young running backs in tow, second-year stud Devon Achane and budding rookie Jalen Wright. And if we're being honest here, which I always am, Miami's season hinges solely on Tua Tagovailoa's health, not its deep group of offensive skill players. Getting something in return for Mostert or Wilson, who both produced under Shanahan's watch in San Francisco, makes sense. And you know what's crazy about that Dolphins running back room? Raheem Mostert, 4.3 guy. Devon Achane, 4.3 guy. Jalen Wright is like a 4.2, 4.3 guy. It's one of the fastest running back rooms in the history of the NFL. So Maurice Jones-Drew could see and envision Wilson or Mostert being back on the San Francisco 49ers. Like Wilson, Mostert's numbers this year, not great. He did start off the year injured. His yards per carry, not good, but teams are defending the run, and they're stacking the box because without Tua Tagovailoa, you've seen Skylar Thompson and Snoop Huntley be the Dolphins quarterbacks. They don't think that they're going to be able to beat their defense by throwing the ball. So 25 totes for 89 yards for Mostert this year. What's funny is that one of Isaac Rendo's pro comps was Raheem Mostert. Taller backs who were bigger, very fast. Legendary Niners running backs coach Bobby Turner, had said going into that Seattle game, and they mentioned on the broadcast, he was asked, like, is Guerrero faster than Mostert? He said he's an eyelash slower than Raheem Mostert. So pick a former Niner who you would want to trade for here. J-Dub for Jeff Wilson, RM for Raheem Mostert. Let me know once again. That's one of today's poll questions. And on the other side, we're going to start to take your questions from our loyal subscribers. But first, let's give a shout out to our sponsor, PrizePicks, for making today's Niners Report possible. Get $50 when you play $5 with PrizePicks. You don't even need to win to receive that $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least two players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long with PrizePicks. And PrizePicks invented the flex play, which means you can still win cash and cash out. If your lineup isn't perfect, you can double your money even if one of your PrizePicks doesn't hit. I also love PrizePicks for some of the specials that they have, like this one. It's a shoo-in. It's an easy dub. Throughout the month of September, it was more than a Caleb Williams half passing yard for the entire month. And for basketball opening night, Anthony Edwards needs 1 point for you to win on opening night. So get $50 when you play $5. Head to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS for that deposit special. We'll put that link down below in the comment section and in the description of today's Niners Report. Start to take your questions here. Mamba Legend 24. Hey, Chase, will the Niners offensive line be the best in the league within 5 years from now? There's no telling that they're going to be a top 5 offensive line 5 years from now. And if we're still under this Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch regime, they have neglected the offensive line since they took over this organization in 2017. They've paid at times for offensive linemen. Weston Richburg, Trent Williams. They used a second-round pick on Aaron Banks. They drafted Dominic Pooney in the 3rd round. So they have invested there, but the offensive line simply has not been good enough. And when you look ahead 5 years from now, which offensive linemen are still going to be on this team? Dominic Pooney? That might be it. They might let Aaron Banks walk after this year. I don't think that Trent Williams is still going to be playing. You're going to have a new center. Hopefully Colton McKivitz is no longer the right tackle for this team. So they're going to have to do a lot. Hopefully in 5 years they have a great offensive line, but that's a little bit hard to predict. I do appreciate the question. Kenneth, did we overpay Brandon Ayuk considering he has always had bad drop problems? He has not had bad drop problems. He has been a consistently available and consistently productive player. Has he dropped passes from time to time? Yeah, he's dropped some gimmies from time to time, but last year he was one of the top wide receivers in the game against Arizona. You saw that he's starting to turn the corner. He had nearly $150 in receiving yards. I think Ayuk's going to be able to be a really good player for a long time because he has great footwork. He has great route running that helps him create separation against man, against zone. He's an explosive player downfield. He can create and pick up yards after the catch. And he's gotten better every year that he's been in the NFL. Hopefully that progress will continue, although this year he's certainly off to a slow start. Let me also explain how the wide receiver market is going to continue to change. Like Justin Jefferson got $35 million per. Another wide receiver is going to overtake him. So in a couple of years, $30 million for a number one boundary X wide receiver actually might be a nice little steal for San Francisco because the NFL salary cap is going to continue to be on the uptick. Sky Shouter, when will Dre Greenlaw come back? We need him. The Niners have sorely missed him. His replacement, Devondre Campbell, has been one of the worst linebackers in all of football. Shout out Kevin Kruger, who does a great job on the Krug Show and the House of Strauss. He had put out some numbers earlier. Devondre Campbell's ranking among linebackers, a minimum of 200 snaps. Missed tackles, tied for 5th worst. Missed tackle percentage, tied for 4th worst. Receiving yards given up, 249, 6th worst. Receiving percentage, 10th worst. Passer rating, 115.6, 18th worst. The Niners are missing Dre Greenlaw. And they're missing Dre Greenlaw because of his play, because of his swagger, physicality, attitude, his ability to be fearful or inject fear, I should say, into the opponent. As for when he comes back, look, he tore his Achilles in February. He might not come back at all this year. If he comes back, maybe it's December, maybe it's January, but we're not close to that. Big Worm, when do you think they will get Ricky Pearsall and Dre Greenlaw back? Obviously, just talk Dre Greenlaw. For Ricky Pearsall, I'm excited to see him play because he has good footwork, good route running. He's tough as nails. He's a willing blocker. He can contribute as a return man. He can go up and get it. He's a little bit small in stature. I think he's more of a slot guy. I personally wouldn't draft slot guys in the first round. I talked about that on draft night. But on this Niners team, with that route running, with that footwork, he's slippery, he's smooth. I think that he can be a weapon for this team and help this team in the red zone because what have the Niners not done this year? Brock Purdy, last in receiver target separation. Guys aren't creating separation for him to make his throws easy. I think that Pearsall comes back either against Dallas or after the bye week because you have Chiefs, Dallas bye week. Chris Waltz, Nick Chubb. A Nick Chubb trade, not going to happen. 1, massive injury concerns. 2, the Browns really need him because their offense has been terrible. Number 3, I don't think the Niners need to make a big move for a running back. Like they already did that with McCaffrey. They're paying him. You're going to have to re-up on Jordan Mason's deal because he's on that rookie contract, which is very cheap if you want to keep him around. And Nick Chubb, I know that he's a scheme fit with what Kevin Stefanski wants to do, but he's an older back with an injury history. I'm not going that route. 21, NC Dorado. Trade for either Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, or Denzel Ward. Yeah, this week I talked about Crosby on the show, talked about Myles Garrett, 2 generational pass rushers who, opposite of Nick Bosa, would just be so good. They would just terrorize opposing quarterbacks. Denzel Ward, look, I don't know if the Niners need a corner. You have Mooney Ward coming back. Deommodore Lenoir has been awesome. Renardo Green is starting to emerge. Isaac Yiadom, he's disappointed me so far this year, but Denzel Ward is like one of the top corners in the National Football League. Don't forget to hit that sub button. We appreciate everybody who supports the show. Largest independently run Niners channel right here on YouTube. And keep it locked here for daily coverage of the Niners.